In today's video, we have both some good and bad news for Social Security beneficiaries, but really we have an alarming fact that we're going to be covering on just how much buying power Social Security beneficiaries have been losing over the years, so we're going to be covering that. Also, we take a look at the GOP candidates running for president to most likely go up against Joe Biden in 2024 and what their current stance is on Social Security. So diving right into it today, an article from the Motley Fool, the good and bad news about the future of Social Security. So we're going to be starting out with the bad news. So the first bad news is that the trust funds, yes, are running out of money. So the Social Security Administration relies primarily on payroll taxes to fund benefits. Current workers pay into the program through taxes, and then that money is paid out to today's beneficiaries. They go on to say that in recent years, however, the money coming in from taxes has not been enough to fully fund benefits. As a temporary fix, the SSA has been dipping into its trust funds to cover the deficit and avoid cutting benefits. But those trust funds are starting to run out, and according to the SSA Board of Trustees' latest estimates, they'll be depleted by around 2034. At that point, the SSA will need to rely on taxes and other sources of income to fund benefits, and those income sources will only be enough to cover around 80% of projected payments. So we actually have a couple of different dates. We have another group projecting 2033 is the date in which the trust fund will be running out of money. Now, over the last couple of years, this date has actually been moved up from 2035. So if these high cost of living adjustments continue on into the future, we might actually see this date move up from 2033 up to closer to 2030. So the trust fund, unfortunately, is running out of money. But as I mentioned there, they will continue to pay out payments, but whatever you're receiving now will be reduced by around 20% because they'll only be able to pay out around 80% of the benefits, possibly even less than that. Now, the second bad news about the future of Social Security is, unfortunately, Social Security is losing buying power. So they go on to say that a separate issue plaguing Social Security is its struggle to keep up with rising inflation. Most years, retirees receive a cost of living adjustment to help their monthly payments keep up with increasing costs. However, these annual COLAs have still been outpaced by inflation. As a result, benefits today don't go nearly as far as they used to. In fact, Social Security benefits have lost around 40% of their buying power since 2000, according to a 2022 report from the Senior Citizens League. Now, 40% is a lot of money here. So, for example, right now, if you're receiving $1,200 for your monthly benefit, because of the 40% reduction in buying power, you should really be receiving right around $2,000. You should be receiving $800 more today if what you're receiving today is $1,200. With the 40% loss, you would have actually been receiving $2,000. So these COLAs, what they're using, the CPIW, isn't nearly keeping up with what inflation actually is. And in the coming years, I really expect this trend to continue. So yes, even though 8.7% was a great increase this year, realistically speaking, it probably should have been more like 10% because prices at the grocery store, the gas station, and all over have gone up a lot more than 8.7%. I think a lot of us can agree on that. So what we're receiving in these COLAs is really not keeping up with inflation. They're not giving us nearly enough money. They need a better solution for these COLAs moving forward, or else, 2030, 2040, we're going to be receiving even less money than what we are today. The buying power, the purchasing power of what we're receiving is just getting less and less, unfortunately. Now, they go on to say there is some good news, though. The first good news is that benefits are not going to go away. So they say, despite the troubling rumors, Social Security is not going bankrupt. As long as workers continue paying payroll taxes, there will always be at least some money to pay out in benefits. So yes, fortunately, even though in 2033 the trust fund is going to be going insolvent doesn't mean no benefits at all. It means that some benefits will be going out, but only 80% or maybe 75% will be fully payable. So once again, you are going to be receiving a cut of 20 to 25%, but obviously a cut of 20 to 25% is better than, not receiving anything at all, because that would be completely devastating. Although a cut of 20 to 25% on top of, having reduced buying power every single year because the COLAs are just not enough to keep up, it's something that definitely cannot happen. Now, they go on to say that there are also steps you can take to help combat potential benefit cuts and loss of buying power. These include delay claiming benefits. So basically, the later you wait to start receiving your benefits, you can receive them as early as 62. That's going to be like your first age, the early eligibility retirement age. And then you can always wait until 66 or 67. That's going to be your full retirement age, depending on whenever you're born. And then you can wait all the way until 70 if you want to receive your max benefit. That would obviously be the best if you can wait until 70. But obviously, the longer you wait, the bigger your benefit will be. They also say that you can take advantage of other benefits. So if you're married, divorced, or widowed, you could be entitled to spousal, divorce, or survivor's benefits respectively. The average spousal/divorce benefit amount is nearly $900 per month as of July 2023, while the average non-disabled widower receives more than $1,700 per month in survivor's benefits. And then they also say to boost your savings. So obviously, the more you can keep of your check each and every month, put it in savings, invest it, whatever you have to do. Obviously, this is going to go a long way as well, because quite frankly, we cannot trust the people in DC to keep this program around for a long period of time. We've seen time and time again, year and year again, they do everything in their power to enrich themselves, but when it comes to the everyday American, quite frankly, they just don't seem to really care all that much. Now, speaking of that, of course, we have the presidential election coming up in 2024. We have to see who's going to be facing up against Joe Biden. So we have all these different Republicans running against him. More than likely, it is going to be Donald Trump, but we do have some people who are throwing their hat into the ring to try to take down Trump to go up against Joe Biden. So right now we have the GOP debates. We're going to be having the primaries for the Republican Party coming up later on, next year, early on next year. And these are the GOP candidates who want to trim Social Security for younger Americans, but they disagree how. So this is an article from Yahoo Finance. So we're just going to be going over the top 3 candidates. Of course, it is Donald Trump, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, and then we have entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, who has recently really come up in the polls. So first off, we're going to go over the stance of the former president and Donald Trump. Right now, what he is saying about Social Security is that under no circumstances should Republicans vote to cut a single penny. And he also says that we should be cutting waste, fraud, and abuse everywhere we can find it. So basically, he is saying that we should not be cutting Social Security at all. We should be keeping the program as it is. And then, of course, we have the thoughts from the current Florida governor and Ron DeSantis. He says there should be discussion on making changes for people in their 30s and 40s, but for everyone else, it should be staying the same. So anyone who is younger than the age of 50, under DeSantis, you might actually have your full retirement age lifted from 67, perhaps up to 69, and he might offer additional options for your future retirement savings, which could help you out where you have more time now, whereas people in their 50s and 60s nearing retirement and receiving Social Security, not much you can do in your case, so he would be keeping it the same. And then finally, we have thoughts from Vivek Ramaswamy, and he says that Social Security reform, Medicare reform, that's got to be somebody else's job down the line. And he doesn't agree with plans to sunset Social Security, but says it comes from a good place. So he doesn't really have any true thoughts right there. That needs to be somebody else's idea. Of course, at the end of the day, it does have to be Congress who passes a law and sends it to his desk for him to sign anything into law. Doesn't really matter what a president thinks. It's really ultimately going to be the job of Congress, although it's also going to be super important for a president to really make this a priority to make sure that we don't have that benefit cut of 20 to 25% come 2033. We definitely need to have a strong president who puts Social Security at the forefront and makes sure that this program stays strong for a longer period of time. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.